All right. Hello and welcome to the Nomiki show. I am not technologically savvy. Dorsey is on a well-needed break today. Just as a show announcement, we are going to be taking a vacation next week, the team here at TNS, but you will get exclusive interviews. I have been deep in pre-tapes. And even with that, I still made a mistake. Look at this. This is how important Dorsey is to our team. So I have to apologize. I am running the show today with Kyle. Kyle's handling Twitch. I had some glitches here. So thank you, everybody, for your patience, for being in there in the live chat. And to Ray Lee, and I think there were a few other super chats that sent some love. So I really appreciate you. This is a different kind of show today. I will still be doing my opening, though. But just so everybody knows, programming note, we are going to be off the live show next week. We have some interviews that are set up. The interviews will be airing during this time, same place, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube and Twitch. And of course, patrons will have access to all of our interviews as well. So thank you to everybody who has been patient and sitting with us along the way. So hello and welcome to the Nomiki show. I am Nomiki Konst. Samuel Gompers, the great American labor leader, summed up in a word his answer to the question, what does labor want? More. Well, today we can revive that to describe what progressives want, what working people want. We want more than Joe Biden has put on the table so far in his plan to revive the economy. AOC got it right when she said Biden's $1.9 trillion plan is encouraging, but not nearly enough. She says it will take $1 trillion a year for 10 years to do what needs to be done. Good union jobs, repairing our roads and bridges, building affordable housing, shoring up healthcare, and ensuring that we draw down the carbon we have dumped into our rapidly warming atmosphere. Biden says he's going big, but AOC says so far he simply has not gone big enough. What is really interesting, as AOC points out, is that even more conservative Democrats like Joe Manchin want to see a bigger infrastructure plan. It's almost like they know voters care about infrastructure. So we need to seize the day. We have been taught over the years to think of the legislative process as whittling down our big ambitions, but it is very clear that as the infrastructure plan arrives in the House, we need to whittle up, if that's the phrase, and increase. We need to get behind AOC and the Progressive Caucus to support a bigger, bolder plan. And it might inspire to remember the whole of what Samuel Gompers actually said. There has been a tendency by mainstream media and anti-labor historians to portray his demand for more as the greedy pleadings of selfish labor. But let me read you the rest of what he said. Quote, what does labor want? We want more schoolhouses and less jails, more books and less arsenals, more learning and less vice, more leisure and less greed, more justice and less revenge. In fact, more of the opportunities to cultivate our better natures. That is what he wanted then, and it is what we must have now. This is what this infrastructure plan is really about. And as we rebuild from this pandemic, what are we building? It has to be better than what was destroyed. Biden has set the right direction, but he hasn't yet committed enough resources to make Build Back Better big enough to matter. We need more. All right, guys, we have a great show today. First up, we have Julia Rock. She has been sitting patiently in the waiting room. Thank you, Julia, for being so patient. And later, Helen Hong and Francesca Fiorentini are back. What a way to kick off the vacation. I'm loving this show. It's Femme Friday, as you guys know, and it is really Femme Friday because I am producing the show right now on this end, although Kyle's there helping out as well. So shout out to Kyle. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the tech support. And thank you to everybody. And just so you know, if you send me super chats, I'm not able to monitor them right now. So I promise we will get to them. We will, after the break, I will give you guys your love and your shout outs. Of course, super chats are encouraged as always. But just wanted to give you guys all a heads up. And thank you to everybody in the chat for keeping it all steady and healthy right now. We will be right back with Julie Rock. All right, welcome back. Sorry, there's no theme music. That is beyond my pay grade. There's a reason why we have professionals usually running this thing and not me, but today's a special day. So thank you guys for your patience. Julia Rock, thank you for joining us today. Julia is a reporter with the Daily Poster. It is a grassroots funded investigative journalism project that covers politics, business, and corporate power, and now movies, I was told yesterday. This is exciting. I want to be on that beat, the movie beat.
You're welcome to join our movie club. We'd love to have you.
The movie club. If you guys join our book club, because
Deal.
I am reading 4 books a month. I don't know if I have time for, I start to watch a show and like within the first 5 seconds, I'm like falling asleep. All right, we've got some big stuff on the agenda right now. Julia, you and your colleagues over at the Daily Poster have been covering our favorite neoliberal, and there's so many to choose from, Rahm Emanuel, who is still somehow relevant, I guess, to the conversation because he wants, as you titled, big carve-outs to a $15 minimum wage. He argued that states should be able to opt out of a $15 minimum wage. What on earth? Why? What is this? I don't understand. Like, what industry other than the fast food industry is lobbying against a $15 minimum wage at this point? Like, why do they care that much?
Yeah, I mean, the restaurant industry really has been one of the biggest opponents to the $15 minimum wage recently, especially to ending the tipped minimum wage. And they're represented by the National Restaurant Association, which is one of these massive trade groups that brings in, tens of millions of dollars of revenue every year. And while the American Rescue Plan was being drafted in the first 2 months of the year, came out really hard against a $15 minimum wage, saying basically, this would hurt an industry that has already been hurt by the pandemic. And for some reason, Rahm Emanuel decided to get involved right at that moment and pen an op-ed for the Washington Post saying, it's no big deal that the Senate is not including the $15 minimum wage in the American Rescue Plan. There are other things worth fighting for, and kind of buried down in that op-ed, this idea that had been first introduced by George W. Bush on the campaign trail in 2000, which was, let's raise the federal minimum wage, and any state that doesn't want to, take that minimum wage can opt out of it. And I think we were honestly surprised. Few things could maybe surprise us at this point about Rahm Emanuel, but we were surprised to see him digging up this Bush idea about the minimum wage and bringing it into 2021.
How did you guys connect the dots between the Bush idea and Rahm Emanuel's, reinvention of it, I guess?
Yeah, so the idea of having a federal minimum wage and allowing states to opt out of it really hasn't been discussed since the Bush years. And there was kind of a debate at the time that actually involved some of the economic policy advisors who are now in the Biden administration, who were working at various think tanks at the time, basically saying this is a terrible idea. Like, all of the places that are going to opt out of the higher minimum wage are places that have the most low wage workers. Like, you're hurting the people who need it most. And it's interesting, it's, a lot of the same people are in American politics now as were fighting over the minimum wage in the early 2000s. But, I guess that was Rahm Emanuel's heyday, and he remembers it very well and wants to bring that debate back.
So basically what you're saying is there are people, economic advisors to the Biden administration, who do not agree with Rahm Emanuel's revival of this idea.
Yeah, I mean, at least at the time, when this idea was being debated, people like Jared Bernstein were kind of saying, no, we shouldn't opt out. And now, there's really no place in the Democratic Party where this idea of setting the federal wage at $15 an hour and then letting states opt out is being discussed, except by Rahm Emanuel, and hopefully nobody kind of picks up on that.
What is his agenda right now? Is he working with the Restaurant Association? Is he just trying to stay relevant? Has he answered any questions around this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think there are a couple of things. First, these trade group conferences, like all different type of speaking events, are just ways that, people like Rahm Emanuel make money. I think his speaking fees were listed at something like $50,000 a speech. So
Stop it.
So if you can speak for however long, 20 minutes, and make that much money, and you don't really, care about corporate corruption, you might do that type of thing. And the other thing is, with all of the DC gossip around Biden transition personnel, it seems that he keeps floating his own name for various posts in the Biden administration. And I think, the administration has maybe gestured to the fact that he would get an ambassadorship or something, but he's still kind of been in the conversation as someone who might join the Biden administration.
Yet he's coming up with these ideas that are seemingly very distant from the current Biden economic agenda, and maybe closer to something like the Obama era, but we're in a different landscape. Biden has absolutely steered in a different course. Doesn't mean it's ideal, but there's a different course right now than the Obama administration. So is he not reading the room? Like where?
I mean, I have no idea what's going on in his head. I think that he is getting this speaking gig at this massive trade association conference. And as much as we might like to think, that's kind of something Republicans do, I think that actually is very much a way to kind of stay relevant and stay in the conversation, and just because he's not being welcomed into the White House doesn't mean, he doesn't have influence, because I think these trade associations, obviously do have a lot of influence, and he's wiggling his way in that way.
The trade associations they're traditionally Republican?
No, I was just gesturing to kind of the people might assume that, someone who's giving the keynote speech at a trade association conference that is kind of the group fighting against the $15 minimum wage would be a Republican.
I understand. Okay, got it.
It's not.
It's for those of us who don't operate in this space. It's
right.
It's a big thing to take in, because I love going to a conference, and I definitely go to that conference to see Rahm Emanuel speak. That's a crowd getter. Oh my God, how they operate. So let's talk a little bit more about like what the Restaurant Association has been doing to fight against the 15. What does that look like? Like, what is the lobbying effort like right now? Who does it seem to be working on in Washington?
Yeah, so we can't see yet exactly who is lobbying on the American Rescue Plan because of the timing of these disclosures, but kind of last year, the groups that were lobbying against the Raise the Wage Act, which is the current, proposal to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, are the usual players. It's the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, it's the Retail Federations Trade Association, and then the National Restaurant Association has really put itself out ahead of this fight. Some of my colleagues did a story at the Daily Poster earlier this week about a big fast food giant that was kind of taking credit for the fact that the $15 minimum wage had not been included in the American Rescue Plan in a disclosure it had sent to its employees about its government relations efforts. And, so those types of things, we don't know exactly why they're taking credit for that and who they were talking to directly about keeping the $15 minimum wage out. But I think what that really goes to show is, the convenient explanations of why it wasn't included in the American Rescue Plan probably aren't true. And it's probably much more likely that, this trade association and industry influence is what's keeping it out.
Remind us what some of these convenient explanations were.
Yeah, so I mean, the big one was that this advisor that the party controlling the Senate has the opportunity to hire and fire, the Senate parliamentarian, ruled that a $15 minimum wage provision could not be included in the American Rescue Plan because it was passed through the budget reconciliation process. And the parliamentarian said, this will not have a significant effect on the federal budget, so it can't be included. There were many things that the Democrats could have done, such as firing the parliamentarian or ignoring the ruling, but they chose not to do those things. But that has really been used kind of as the explanation of why it was not done.
Process. Would it be doable for Biden just himself to sign over, change the minimum wage? Isn't that how it happened with the Clinton era when they increased the minimum wage?
I mean, I think there are many options that the executive branch has to change labor standards for federal employees, but not kind of. I don't believe the minimum wage for all private sector employees can be changed by executive action. But there was kind of an important point that Biden didn't really seem to be lobbying very hard to have the Senate include the $15 minimum wage in their version of the bill. Obviously he's the most powerful politician in the United States. I think that what he can do goes far beyond just signing executive orders.
Unreal. Okay, so in other news, we have been covering regularly on the show the Amazon fight and specifically how the Amazon vote has concluded. We're aware of it. We're waiting for the results. It could take weeks for all we know. But Amazon, you had reported a few days ago that Amazon tried to block a vote on worker safety, a worker safety initiative. What's happening over there?
Yeah, so this was a shareholder resolution filed by the Comptroller of New York City, Scott Stringer, who's running for mayor right now, on behalf of the city's pension funds. And the pension funds are invested in Amazon, by virtue of being invested in all different types of companies, which gives them the power to file shareholder resolutions at the companies they're invested in. So Stringer files this resolution with Amazon asking the company to do an internal review of its worker safety response to the COVID crisis. And Stringer filed that resolution, and the idea would be that it's included in the company's proxy materials at the annual earnings meeting, at the annual meetings this year. And rather than just letting its shareholders vote on the resolution, Amazon declared that it was not going to allow its shareholders to vote on the resolution, and instead asked the Securities and Exchange Commission, now controlled by President Biden and the Democrats, to kind of give its blessing in allowing Amazon to exclude this resolution. So it's like, it wouldn't even have required any kind of action from Amazon in terms of changing, what it does regarding worker safety. All it was asking was for the company to do a review of what it had done, to protect workers from COVID, and Amazon won't let its shareholders vote on it.
Is this something that has to do with liability? I mean, I know that there's been a lot of now most companies are protected, but is there some loophole? Are they worried about any sense of that?
I think a big part of what's been happening with Amazon on worker safety is this legacy of deception. Basically, it's been lying to lawmakers, it's been lying to the media about injuries and what's going on in its workplaces. And kind of any call for transparency, it seems, is just getting shot down. So I don't even know if it goes so far as like any real legal concerns. I think it's just a total unwillingness to provide any transparency about working conditions in its warehouses or, anywhere along the supply chain.
What do we know about the working conditions right now?
That they're not good. I think that much of it can be attributed, as many have pointed out, and which is why the union drive is so significant, to the lack of a union. It's kind of particular issues around control workers have over the workplace, about the speed of work, kind of the ways in which they're monitored, capacity to report injuries or change types of systems that are causing injuries. So I think it really is kind of a total lack of any control over the conditions of the workplace that are leading to these really high injury rates and high rates of workers getting COVID and not having PPE.
It's pretty outrageous. Do you have a sense of when the vote will happen? I mean, when the results will come in?
I was seeing anything from, end of this week to a few weeks. I think that the length of the mail-in election makes it a little bit hard to predict how long it's going to take to count the votes.
What do you mean by that? Like that they're waiting for mail to come in? It has to be postmarked a certain date or dropped off? What's the rule?
Yeah, I think it just kind of, the conditions of the election were unique because of the pandemic, that, people were allowed to mail in their votes. And I think that's just like created logistical challenges in terms of knowing how long it's going to take to count them.
Not to mention the fact that they had like all these tornadoes in Bessemer last week. It was insane.
Right. It's been one thing after another.
One thing after another. And of course, they mail in we're worried about the pandemic. So you can mail in your votes, but please show up to work without any PPE. And we're going to time you as you go to the bathroom, literally like a football field away. Just make sure that you're back to, yeah, exactly. We're going to make sure we monitor you every step of the way, but please mail in your ballot because we're worried. Yeah. My goodness. Julia Rock, always a pleasure having you on. Thank you for the updates of the Daily Poster. Go check out our work. Go subscribe to the newsletter. There's a movie club now. What's the first movie? Is there a sense? Who picks them? Is it David?
It's a group effort. The first movie is The Distinguished Gentleman.
Oh, which is about, I know it's
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, okay. So you have no idea. All right. Well, next time you come on, you have to let us know.
Perfect.
Thank you, Julia.
Thanks so much.
All right, guys, we'll be right back. No music. Know that, right? There's no music. We'll be back with our amazing panel with Helen Hong and Francesca Fiorentini right after this break. Just kidding. You know why I'm just kidding? Because I have to talk to you guys about CBD. If you don't already know, we are big fans of Sunset Lake CBD at the show here. Sunset Lake CBD is a farmer-owned company that ships craft CBD directly from their farm in Vermont to your door. They're an incredible company that it was originally a dairy farm for the Ben and Jerry's in Vermont, and they decided to diversify and grow premium hemp. When you are a customer, you are supporting sustainable agriculture that enhances rural communities and creates meaningful employment in the community. Their minimum wage is $15 an hour. There's no restaurant association lobbying them. They are doing what's right because they're progressive, and the employees own a majority of the company, and they support independent media like the Nomiki show and the David Pakman show, and the Majority Report. Their products are amazing. They have everything from tinctures, gummies, salves, coffee, fudge, all designed to help with stress, aches, and pains. You guys know I've talked about this a lot. I love their tincture. I love their gummies. When I do have the gummies, I eat a few too many of them. So I'm trying to wean off of the gummies and stick to the tinctures. Dorsey, who is, I think, flying right now in the air, he probably had a little CBD before he got on that plane. But now that it's legal in New York, he likes to do the mixes with like the legal marijuana. And we can say that now. Mixing it up with some of the hemp. I know you guys love it when I say hemp. I read the comments. I see what's going on. You're making fun of me. But yeah, so he likes to smoke it. I get bad migraines. I will smoke it. Immediately, my migraine goes away. I can't tell you how hard it is to deal with these migraines. I have tried everything. Take certain pills sometimes. It can be really hard on me because they're very intense and they make me sleepy. This has made a huge difference in my life, and it is way cheaper and way healthier. I love Sunset Lake CBD. I've tried other CBD. I thought it was a gimmick. I really did. And then I heard Sam Cedar at the Majority Report talking about it. He's like, no, it really helps. And I was like, I don't know. I've tried this stuff before. It doesn't work on me. But he was right. And it's because they really are finely crafted. It's like an art for them. But if you want to order, you can get 20% off because we have a promo code here. So you can go to sunsetlakecbd.com, get 20% off your order if you type in NOMI, NOMI, 20% off of your order if you go to sunsetlakecbd.com. I'm telling you, it's worth it. My aunt reached out to me yesterday and said, I want some more of that fudge. How do I do it? So we're going to put in a big order with my whole family. Like, it's amazing. It's really changed our lives. I don't sell things. And not only that, I was talking to Joshua Kahn Russell the other day about it. And he's like, wait, you actually use it? I was like, yes, I'm not selling things that I don't use. We have like one advertiser on our show. Clearly, I care about this product. It is in my tea right now as I am drinking. And it gives my lips a little bit of ointment. I love it. All right, guys, we will be right back with the fabulous Francesca Fiorentini and Helen Hong. There she is. I am so excited. All right.
Hello.
Oh, here I am. Apologies because our lovely producer Dorsey is on a well-deserved vacation and we are going on break next week. And I was like, I can man this. I know how to do that. I do not know how to do this. This is not my field. I need to stay in my lane. Like, this is too much. Women are amazing multitaskers. I am just not very technical. So I apologize. There's
Girl,
no like
same.
music. There's no jiving. I'm going to be sharing screens. You're going to be seeing, I don't know, cat pictures, dog pictures, whatever you're going to see on my screen. So be ready. Helen Hong, of course. We're waiting for Francesca too, but Helen Hong is the host of the Jobsolete podcast and the Go Fact Yourself podcast. She is a comedian, actor, TV host, podcaster, and news commentator. She's a frequent guest on my dad's favorite show, Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, on NPR. I grew up with that show. It's such a relief because NPR is like, sometimes I'm like, you got to get a little more progressive, NPR. What happened?
Oh, Nomiki,
Love
you
having
don't
you
even
there.
understand how many jokes I tell, how many Bernie related jokes that I tell that they cut out of the
What?
podcast.
Really?
Yes. This is like
Still?
insider information. Yeah, I mean, when I first started working there, I was so excited. I was like, NPR is so progressive. And then I started working heavily for Bernie, and I was like, oh no, they're hella capitalistic. But
I used to contribute regularly to KPCC in Los Angeles, and they're very lovely people. I love going on their show, but there was always like a little bit of, pushback, and
for
it
sure.
was interesting. But what I love talking about though was, which is what we're going to start off with, was immigration, because they would bring on these incredible reporters who covered, specifically it was like all politics, Latino politics, but because the Latino population is so overwhelmingly pro Bernie, there was like this space where I was like, oh my God, now we can get it. Like that's the wedge issue. We got them. They got to talk about it in Southern California.
Yep. That's right. Great. Get in while you can. Get in where you
Exactly.
can. Get in where you can.
That's it. So I want to start off with, let me make sure I have this right, because I don't know how to produce anything. Joe Manchin, our favorite senator,
Oy.
who is holding up government. Just, no big deal. Can you imagine being married to Joe Manchin? Like, sorry.
I can't even imagine seeing Joe Manchin like not in his jacket. Like once he takes his jacket
you're
off,
going to.
I'd be like, ugh, yeah, no.
Wait for it. On cue, let me show this video of Joe Manchin. You're just going to love this one.
Uh-oh.
All right, let's see if I can do this right.
Is this a trigger warning?
Trigger warning. Here we go.
Ooh, yuck.
Can you hear it?
No.
Oh, give me 1 second. I did it the wrong way. Guys, I can't believe we have a show and I'm doing this. I'm so sorry. Goodness gracious.
It's hard. It's hard to be on and
embarrassed
behind.
When I see people do this, I'm like, oh, you're amazing. You're a unicorn. All right.
Let me just say, when I call this a crisis, I'm not blaming the crisis on the present administration of President Biden, the former administration of President Trump. This has been a human crisis for a long, long time. I can remember back in the 80s, Ronald Reagan talking about how he was going to take care of immigration. Let me just say, when I call this a crisis.
So what
even was that?
It is literally like last month, I got this alert just a few minutes ago saying that this is literally the number of unaccompanied minors detained at the border nearly doubled in March compared to with February. Total migrant arrivals passed a 15-year high. Now, this is rooted, as we're fully aware, of foreign policy and frankly, Obama era foreign policy in Central America. And they got to deal with two things at once. The crisis that they created 15 years ago, 12 years ago, and basically the crisis that was exacerbated under Trump.
Yeah. I love that he, first of all, nice lemon yellow polo. Never needed to see that, Joe Manchin. Never needed to see you not like in a 4-piece suit, because Anyway, not judging.
You asked for it. I was like, oh, how funny.
Not judging anyone's fashion, but I didn't need to see that. Also, I love that he's so, Joe Manchin is classically like, am I a Democrat? Am I a Republican light? Like, he's just trying to toe that. He's like, I don't want to piss any Trump voters. I don't want to piss off any Trump voters. I don't want to piss off any Biden voters. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Did you miss the entire kids in cages saga that we just lived through? Did you miss like the entire year and a half of like not dealing with the coronavirus that has put us into this like poopy hole? Because I can't say, you know what I mean?
You could say it. Go for it.
Of like the economic depression that we are in right now that has been exacerbated by not dealing with coronavirus. He's like, I'm not blaming. It's like you walk into a house and clearly your dog has smeared dog poop all over like every piece of furniture. You're like, I'm not blaming you, Rufus. I know.
At least Rufus is cute though. These guys are just like,
I know that was a bad analogy.
Yeah, he's like, you have a Nazi in the White House, and he just was like, oh, but you know, there's always, it's the good guys argument. Like, there's good guys on all sides.
No, there are not.
They're not actually.
Some of the good guys are douchebags, okay?
And you don't need their votes either, by the way. Like West Virginia, if you talk about the things like, if you're not tethered to big interests, you might win, Joe Manchin. That's the crazy thing. He's straddling the power he has in the Senate with big industry, with keeping his voters, you know, basically it's a facade. It's like, I have to make them think that I like both sides of the aisle, when really you just like one side of the aisle, and it has to do with big industry, and you're holding up our entire government as a result. And you're the foil for Biden now, and you're the foil for Chuck Schumer, who are like, we don't have any power. We don't have any power. It's this guy Joe Manchin, like, oh, he's just such a jerk. I can't do anything with him.
That's the thing that drives me crazy is like people, you know, there were definitely people who voted for Trump who are Trump voters because they're racist pieces of crap. But there are also people who voted for Trump because he was a populist, or he called himself a populist, and he talked about populist issues, and he talked about a lot of the similar things that Bernie talked about, which is like, you know, we got to tax the millionaires and deal with actual real human beings that live in our country, the 99% of us that are down here struggling on a daily basis. And West Virginia is a perfect example. Like, West Virginia is a mess. It's like, it's all 99%. Exactly. It's probably 99.9% in West Virginia. Like, if you speak to them, you don't have to kowtow to Shell or Chevron
whatever,
or whoever.
I mean, he's also like against the $15 minimum wage. You know who wants the $15 minimum wage? Your constituents, the 99.9%.
Everyone in West Virginia.
Literally.
Everyone in West Virginia. If they were making $15 minimum wage, they would you would bring back the middle class to West Virginia.
Yep.
I mean, come on, Joe Manchin.
There would be statues of you. They would be like, hero.
Joe Manchin, put on some big boy pants with that lemon yellow polo. If you need to go with the lemon yellow polo, put some big boy pants on underneath that, and let's like suck it up and actually try to do something for your constituents, the people of West Virginia, and not be like, I'm not pissing off on it, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you can't have it all.
Nope.
You need to pick a lane.
I can't wait to see the ads against him. Francesca's here. Let me bring her in right now. This is like a loosey-goosey casual Friday. I'm loving it because I don't know how to do anything. Francesca Fiorentini is joining us from the beach, I think. I messed up your beach time, did I? This is the best day before my vacation ever. I love it.
I'm hiding in a corner. I'm trying to be stealth, but I think we're live, you guys. I think we're on a show right now, so I'm not that stealth.
Are you being chased by surfers, Francesca? Are you
it's just surfers and seagulls, and the seagulls have masks and the surfers don't. It's very weird.
Oh, wow. Surfers may or may not be racist, you know.
Let me give you a proper introduction. Francesca Fiorentini is the host of the Bitchuation Room podcast on Sundays and News Broke on Al Jazeera. You've seen her lovely Medicare for All specials on MSNBC. What else do you have in the works? Anything I'm missing? You're always up to something.
You know, sadly, News Broke isn't coming back in 2021. So this is the big news. So mostly the Bitchuation Room podcast every Sunday, 5/8 Eastern on YouTube at Franny Fio. So happy to be here with you guys and talk on this this final Friday.
One of the best podcast titles of all time, the Bitchuation
Best.
Room. I love it. Best. I love it so much.
You have to try to get Wolf Blitzer though. Like, I would love to see that. You're like,
This is Wolf Blitzer. I'm on the bituation room. Oh my God, my head would explode. I would fall off my chair. Thank you for joining us on the bituation. Did I just say that?
Francesca's frozen and her smile.
Oh, Francesca!
Francesca!
Francesca, your beach Wi-Fi pooped out. Hit refresh, Francesca. Hit refresh.
This is
Oh my God, but she's frozen on the best possible thing.
best way. Okay, well, we'll
She's
just keep her there the
permanently
whole
laughing
time.
And Wolf Blitzer going the habituation room.
I am loving this. All right. So in the meantime, while she's doing that, let's move on to some other stories, or we could just talk the whole time. I'm sure people would love it too. All right. So Joe Biden has announced that he will nominate the first Black woman to the Supreme Court. Not that there's a spot open right now. Just want you all to know that. It's like, I don't know if you've checked lately, but
Just hanging out. Yeah, because it's like because Brett
Kavanaugh.
Douchey head rapist Brett the rapist Kavanaugh is like what is he, 38? I feel like he gets younger. Like he's reverse aging because he's like, oh, I'm not going nowhere. It's like, of course, the best ones had to be ancient.
I know.
Peter Ginsburg was 9,000 years old. She was our biggest champion. And of course, what's his face has installed the youngest Nazis in the history of young Nazis to the Supreme Court. It's like, are you 19? You're going to you 19 and a hardcore Trumper? You're going to the Supreme Court.
Who's the woman? I don't even know her name. I was like, I can't deal with this. This is too much for me.
She's literally 12.
She's 12.
They're reverse age. How is it possible? I don't know. They seem to be getting younger because they're like, I'm never leaving. I mean, who even thought about this lifetime appointment concept in the first place? Like, whose idea was this? I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's been a good idea, but lately I'm thinking there should be a retirement age of maybe 45.
I think so. Well, back then they would die at like 45, so it made sense. I mean, Benjamin Franklin was like the longest living human of all time, and I'm sure there were like 7 of him. It was just like it wasn't one.
Kept swapping him out. I bring out wax figure B8 of Benjamin Franklin. Great. Yeah, no, of course, this is part of their diabolical plan. The Federalists, or whatever the hell they're called, are like grooming. They're like cloning Nazi Republicans.
It's Elon Musk's job. That's what he does.
In a lab, and he's like, make them look like maybe they're 40, but actually they're 12, and they're just gonna live for frickin' ever. Great. Wonderful.
Get ready for Supreme Court Justice Ben Shapiro. Because this is how Biden is, or what he'll do. No, it's going to be Candace Owens, because Biden's like, all right, I will have a Black woman on the Supreme Court. We're gonna but I'm going to work with the Republicans because this is my brand of politics. I need to work with Republicans. So we have nominated. She's a very vocal woman. She's a mother.
She's Black. I don't know if you guys noticed. She's Black. It's like she's Black in the way that Clarence Thomas is Black. Like, you know what? They don't even claim him. Black folks do not claim Clarence Thomas. So like, you can't just, he's basically like a Black dude in a KKK hoodie. Like he's like the Black dude in the Dave Chappelle skit.
He is. That's exactly. What if this is retribution? Okay, you want a Black woman on the Supreme Court? I got an idea for you, Joe Biden. We should start the campaign to get Anita Hill on the Supreme Court.
Oh my God. That's
not amazing. Biden doing it.
So delicious.
That's it. It's his reparations.
That would
like the one thing he can do.
I love it.
And then she has to sit there with that douchebag.
I love it so much. And you know what? She should put pubic hairs on his drinks every day for the rest of his goddamn life. Like, you want to see pubic hairs? I got some pubic hairs for you. In fact, Anita, we will send you collectively all of our pubic hairs and just sprinkle them on him like every chance you get.
Oh my God.
Next to him, and just deal with our pubic hairs, bitch. Like, deal with that shit, Clarence. You want pubic hairs? We got pubic hairs. I got some that are graying. I'll send you. I'm so enraged. I hate
Oh
him
my
so
God.
much.
That would be a great pet project for me.
I
It's a
literally,
very good COVID project for a lot of women out there. Just leave it there.
none of us have shaved. None of us have gotten a bikini wax in a year and a half because who
Oh.
cares? It's the pandemic. We have a plethora of bikini hairs. Okay, pubic hairs. I have some that are literally going gray. I will personally
my
find
God.
the gray ones, send to Anita Hill so that she can sprinkle them onto Clarence Thomas every day for the
God.
rest of his life.
Every day.
That's what he deserves. Like, you're eating something. Whoops! Oh, I'm sorry. Your lunch is now pubic. Clarence.
Because they all go for dinner. I would just love this faction. It'd be like the Anita Hill faction, and like, oh my God, what is this? What would the situation be like? I think we should start it. Campaign for Anita Hill.
I love it so much. I mean, that's what she's been through.
Mhm.
She deserves a lifetime appointment to any freaking job she wants. And yes, the Supreme Court, yes. And anytime he says something like even slightly off, she should just be like, mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Really?
This reminds me of that time.
No, but this reminds me of the time that you sexually harassed me and put pubic hair on my Coke.
Yeah.
What? Who even thinks to do that? What a psychopath.
Seriously, like, what kind of level is this? We have to pivot to Matt Gaetz now. It's not even on our list, but like, what kind of culture is curated where you think you can get away with these things? And you can do them on the floor of Congress or in professional settings. Like, how are men raised? I mean, this is so opposite of, because a woman literally does like nothing. And they're like, smear her, ruin her, she's a fraud, she's a this, she's a that. And a man can literally do what Clarence Thomas did. And then Matt Gaetz can literally show pictures of naked women to his colleagues on the floor of the House. And like, that's totally something.
And now we know some of these women are actually underage girls.
Shocker.
Like what? Like, I just read this quote that said there are actually more GOP members of Congress that have been convicted of like pedophilia than trans people in bathrooms. Did you read that?
Oh my God. I'm not surprised. I'm just like,
oh, totally not surprised. It's like, of course they are. They're the ones that are, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the pizza. It's the Pizzagate people. I mean, what kind of project? I mean, when that story came out, I was like, that whoever created that story, Alex Jones or one of those people, you're totally projecting. Or like, this is what your culture is like, that you think this is a totally normal conspiracy theory to put on Democrats. I mean, say what you will about the Clintons, but like, it was so bizarro.
Of all things, pizza. Like,
Pizza.
take the holiest and most universally loved food and let's sully it with your disgusting machinations, however you say that word. It's
Who
like,
cares?
oh, it's pizza is everybody's favorite food, and we dirtied it with pedophilia. It's like, what? Where did you even get that? Like, have you ever been to a pizza restaurant, you idiot? There's dough everywhere. There'd be handprints, there'd be fingerprints. Like, it's just covered in white dough. Like, you can't hide anything in a pizza. Right. If you've been in the basement of a pizza place, like, everyone knows because you're just covered in dough. Like, do you know nothing? Like, these people are like,
well, I mean, and they could have at least picked like Chuck E. Cheese. Like, there was so many natural ways to sell this story, and they picked the one that everybody liked to go to in DC. Even though, like, they're kind of neoliberal, but like, whatever, like, everybody goes there. It's so much fun. And the pizza's actually really good. What? Unless it was the owner of Chuck E. Cheese that created this scandal. I don't know.
It also shows how sheep-like that's the people who ascribe to this kind of thinking is like, the second they were like, this certain pizza parlor in DC is peddling children in the basement. And then like a small army of idiots showed up there with guns and was like, shh, I heard this is the place that you got the kids in the basement. Meanwhile, Matt Gaetz literally is under literal investigation by the FBI for doing pedophilia with a 17-year-old. And like, people on our side aren't showing up at his house with a gun being like, I heard this is the place. It's like, how dumb are your followers?
Well, also, where are those QAnon followers for Matt Gaetz? Why aren't they showing up and saying like, hey, young girls, No,
You know what?
it's yeah. Oh, it didn't make it on the Q9 site. That's why it's just filtered out. Do you
Yeah.
ever have this situation where like you stumble across these people and you share just basic facts, like something that just happened in the news that day
Yeah.
that everyone knows, it's not disputed, and they're like, that is fake news. They're
Yeah.
like zombies.
The whole
Who-
thing with the masks, everything with the mask is like, what on earth? Like, how do you get to this logic that like, my favorite one is like when they wear the mask under the chin and they
Oh,
try
yeah.
to go into a store, and there are always these poor employees that have been dealing with this for
I know,
years.
I
Sir,
know.
sir, can you please,
I know.
sir, can you please put the mask on? I can't breathe. It's always these giant burly guys. I can't breathe. And I always am on the side being like, yo, there have been medical doctors who perform 20-hour surgeries wearing these things
Exactly.
for decades. Suck it up.
Yeah.
Like, like, put your big boy britches on. Stop being such a wuss. Suck it up. You're in an Ace Hardware. Okay. You're not doing anything like, you're not like burning oxygen with high level thinking that you're doing at the Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
I think you can put the mask on for 4 minutes, picking up your stupid like lawn gnomes.
Lawn gnomes. And meanwhile, these are the same people who are doing CrossFit who want to like climb Mount Kilimanjaro. They're like, I can't breathe. I'm not wearing the mask, but I will go to that cult CrossFit thing and I'll like live off of like
What is
lamb
it about
intestines every.
CrossFit? I just learned that Laura, whatever her name, that
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie
Taylor
horror,
Greene. Yeah.
dreadful witch Marjorie. She does CrossFit, and I'm like, what is it about CrossFit? Is it the mindlessness? Is it like check your brain?
I said this yesterday on the show. I think it is a cult where they all think they're joining the military, and maybe some of them are former military or wanted to be in the military. But there's it's this like weird patriotic, and then there's anything with a diet attached to it. I'm just like, oh come, like
oh my god, that's so funny. They're like, I'm whipping these ropes for America. Yes, yes, you are. You are. I'm flipping this giant tire for America. Sure, yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. America needs you to flip that giant tire. You idiot.
Except these are the people who stormed the Capitol. They wore, like, remember that guy who was like in a cat suit and he had all the ties, the zip tie. I mean, very scary, very, very, very scary. But like, you know that he practiced that at CrossFit. He just like ran to, you know, I don't know if you've ever run into them. They're like running, they're all running like way too hard down the street. You're like, I just need to get to the subway, get out of my, like, oh my God, like my safe space.
Trying to get to CVS to pick up cotton balls. Why am I being accosted by these sweaty humans running at me at 30 miles an hour? Like, calm the frick down. Yeah, it's true. They're all like, it's obsessed. It's something in the brain is slightly off that they need something. They need shit to obsess about.
Yes, yes.
They need stuff to fixate and obsess about. Because while the rest of us are out here watching Netflix and chilling by ourselves,
Drinking mezcal. Come on, let's just be real. Like, just
like while the rest of us are
like
drinking our boxed wine like normal humans on a Friday night, like watching Netflix and eating pizza like normal humans, these guys are like, no, I need to flip a tire for America, and then I need to go buy zip ties. What?
And I need to read Jordan Peterson and live off of like, you know, the spare parts of weird animals like buffalo. I mean, the keto diet, I'm like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian yogi, so it's literally I have like the opposite makeup. I'm like, if you're telling me, if I'm in a yoga class and they're like, it's intense, I'm like, oh, that's not yoga. Like, get your little drill sergeant. No. I do things like how I want to do it. I'm gonna like go zen. No rules. I could be a 20-minute class. It could be 2 hours. I don't care. It's about what I'm feeling.
I'm downward dogging when I want. Okay.
Exactly.
The downward dog mood has not hit me, so let me get there. Let me just get there.
That's exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, I don't exercise at all. This is literally the most active. Better. This is literally the most active that I will be. Like this, me gesticulating with my arm. I'm exhausted. I'm wiped out. I'm like, I need a drink. Like, I'm tired.
Oh, I have a 6-pack now from laughing super hard. So if you can come on every week, that would be great, because then my abs will be somewhere underneath all of my COVID fat will be very strong. taking a week off, and I was like, I'm, getting all of my clothing ready because I'm vaccinated, so I can go do things now. And CDC said I can do things. So I was getting all of my clothing. I'm like, I don't fit it. This dress I'm wearing, I can't wear this out. This is a TV dress. It used to be something that I could fit in before COVID. So,
Girl.
Make me laugh. I need
Girl,
that 6-pack.
I'm wearing a half-tied bathrobe right now down here. Like I'm not wearing, that's the only bottoms that I'm ever wearing ever again. Like pants. Remember pants?
Who invented those restrictive
pants are not
men?
Anything that's not elastic, not happening ever from now on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I never understood these women who are like, I need to wear pants. I guess it's the heels. If you could just wear sneakers and dresses, that's the comfort level, right?
Fantastic.
Flats and dresses.
Fantastic.
So when everyone was like, all the women were campaigning to not wear dresses anymore, I'm like, no, I think you got it wrong. We don't want to be like, that's uncomfortable. Just find looser dresses. Take off the Under Armour that you have to wear.
Oh my God, there's a comedian, I can't remember, but there's a female comedian that I remember did a joke about like men think that we wear dresses for them. And it's like, we wear dresses because we don't want to coordinate a top and a bottom. And also we don't want to have to button something in our waist. Like,
yes,
come on.
I want to eat bread. Okay.
Like,
I have major gluten intolerance, but there are days when I really want to eat bread. And that is the day you wear a dress.
Yeah. It expands with you. It expands with you. Oh my God, I'm so excited that you're vaccinated. You're going on vacay. You're going to like do human things. Please tell me all about it. I'm not vaccinated yet. I'm like,
offline, I'll tell you.
Tell me what's it like out there in the real world? I'm literally in my closet.
You are in your closet. It's okay. I'm in a very weird room that like will fall apart in 2 minutes. People don't understand my little setups in different places. My parents' house, my house.
If you push this purple background, I would just go.
Oh, 100%. And then I would be like in a yard. This is not a normal. Last time I walked in here, like we took a break off. I was like, oh, the floor's wet because it had rained. And it dripped through the wall. And all of the foam I have around here was like a little bit stinky. I'm like, oh, this is, but we're grifters. That's it. That grift money is really paying off.
Exactly.
Helen Hong, we love you. Where can we check you out right now? What are you promoting? What's happening?
Go to my dad's YouTube channel. I'm doing a YouTube channel with my dad. It's called Old Korean Dad Stories and sometimes Mom. Yeah.
Amazing. Old Korean Dad Stories. And how's your dad doing? Are your parents doing okay right now?
They're doing well. They were, as you know, they've both been victims of these anti-Asian attacks. And so I am teaching them self-defense. I'm teaching them self-defense. So
you shouldn't have to do that, but
that video on the channel of me trying to teach my 75-year-old parents, like, up to the chin, Mom, up to the chin. Gotta hit the chin, Mom. Come on. She's gonna be like, ah.
Tell her to put her keys in her, all the things that they used to teach us.
No, that's not good. I learned that in the actual self-defense class. It actually can backfire because you can cut your tendon here and then you have no use of your hand. It's not good. It's actually better if you put the key in here and come this way.
Oh,
girl,
okay,
I've done a whole, like I was mugged on the street and on my block where I lived in New York City. So I've done the whole self-defense thing. Key in the thing, it's not good. It'll cut your tendon.
Don't do that, guys. No keys in the thing. Got to do it this way.
Like this and just bam. Yeah.
I once took a Krav Maga class like 20 years ago. I forgot everything though, but that was like a big part of it was that was Israeli CrossFit.
Yeah.
It was too intense. They made me do all this running. I was like, no, I just want to know the moves. Like, I don't want to do that stuff. Just teach me the moves.
Palm strike up to the chin. Palm strike up to the chin.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Fast. Okay. Yeah.
Fast.
Girl,
I love it.
Get into it.
I'm going to go watch you teaching your parents self-defense. And that'll be my lesson. So when I'm on vacation, nobody messes with me. Nobody messes with me and my 6-pack underneath my COVID belly. I don't look like I'm strong, but underneath this 15 pounds of COVID belly, I got some Helen Hong abs.
Yes.
She makes me laugh.
Yes. Have a great vacation, Nomiki.
Thank you so much, Helen. We will see everybody next week. We're airing. We have a regular show up. We're going to be doing interviews, but it's all pre-taped. So hopefully you'll enjoy those interviews. I promise they're really, really, really good. I cried during one of them just to give you a little bit of it was pretty sad. So, but it ended well. Just made me tear up. So you definitely want to check those out, and go check out Helen Hong. She's got your podcast, which is, let me have it handy so I don't have it, the Job Sleep podcast and the Go Fact Yourself podcast, and your story.
Old Korean dad stories on YouTube.
Perfect. You got it. All right. If I was a great producer, I would put it up on screen, but I don't know how to do that. So anyways, thank you, Helen Hong. Always appreciated. And thank you to everybody else. I'm going to give some shout outs to all of our moderators. I don't have all the names because I'm not monitoring this, but you know who you are. We love you every day. I send you love. All the moderators on YouTube, all the algorithm, everybody who's helping out with the algorithms on YouTube and Twitch, our mods on Twitch, anybody who is gifting tiers, we love you. We will make sure to give you the shout outs when I am back live. I promise we will do this. And to everybody who's given Super Chat love, we promise to do the same thing. I know Harvey K is in that chat, so I'm just going to give him a little bit of a shout out. Harvey, I'm going to be off the grid for a whole week. Are you ready for that? I'm going to like come back from being off the grid. I mean, like I'm really off the grid, and I'm going to have all these text messages with stories, because Harvey always shares like important stories that we should be covering or learning about. And he's like my connoisseur. No, that's not the right word. Doesn't matter. Anyways, thank you to everybody. Thank you for your patience on this show. I'm going to go learn how to be a producer after this, I promise, so we don't have another show like this. Just makes us appreciate Dorsey so much more. Thank you to Kyle. Thank you to our team. Ruthie, Piper, Simon, Kyle, Dorsey, who's in the sky somewhere right now, Mike. Love you guys. Have a wonderful vacation.